the subjective states of the mind and what exactly is right perception. Whether we say right perception, whether we say right knowledge, or whether we simply say pure awareness, they more or less are synonyms. So first understand whether when I say right perception means right knowledge. Now let us know, is the sky blue? The sky is not blue. It appears blue. So now when I know the sky is not blue, it appears blue, the knowledge, the perception happens in my mind the moment I see the sky appears blue, but it is not. Right perception. But if I continue to live with what I see is right, in fact it is wrong. Takes the same example, water in a mirage. My eyes see there is a water, but I see it is a desert. The knowledge happens in my mind. It is not. But still it appears water, but it is not. So it is not happens in my mind. That is right perception. That is right knowledge. That is right knowledge. Am I the body? It appears I am the body, but I am not. We have to reach to that state in the journey of Eastern wisdom and meditation. Am I the breath? No, I am not the breath. So even I breathe, even my body belongs to me, I am not the body. Car belongs to me, I am not the car. Same way, breath belongs to me, I am not the breath, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am not the ego. So we have to make a journey step by step to reach to my true nature. I am pure consciousness. Meditation, the goal of meditation is to reveal the knowledge of reality. That is the final goal. Final goal of any meditation, every meditation, any mindfulness practice is the goal is to reveal the knowledge of reality. I am pure consciousness. That is of the nature of permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. So the entire journey of the Eastern wisdom is to discover our true nature. And Eastern wisdom is an instrument of knowledge that aims at discovery of my true nature. The way my eyes is an instrument of knowledge by which I can see form and color. I cannot see the sound. I cannot see the taste through my eyes. Eyes are limited. So, every instrument can see, can perceive certain specific things. My eyes can see form and color. My sound can see, perceive sound. Ears, taste, they cannot interchange. Telescope cannot see the cell of the human body, even if the telescope is such a huge, sophisticated instrument. So we can wrongly argue, why telescope can see the stars, why it cannot see the cell? Prove me. That is, we are making a wrong argument. Similarly, show me the self, the true nature through my eyes. Eyes are not meant for it. Eyes may be very sophisticated instrument. I can see the beauty. I can see the color. But eyes are not meant to see my true nature. The way the telescope cannot see the cell, or electron microscope by which we see the coronavirus cannot see the stars. They have their own limitations. So, Eastern wisdom, our teachers teaches that don't argue on a wrong thing. So there must be a right knowledge through the principles. So when we say the Eastern wisdom is an instrument of knowledge by which I discover my true nature. So Eastern wisdom consists of many principles. So we know what is true nature, we know the properties of a true nature, and ultimately it also gives us the steps. There are hundreds of practices: mantra, meditation, mindfulness, and hundreds of practices. Now coming to the second question. That does the meditation practice involves the steps that are permanent in nature? The answer is no. They are not permanent steps. Buddha, if you remember other great masters, Vivekananda, another master, contemporary masters during the last 100 or 200 years, Ramakrishna, Maharshi Raman, they are the names of the great masters. They have taught different practices of meditation as people understand. And they have a different steps. But they followed the same principle. Principles are the same. The principles of physics or electronics in manufacturing iPhone and Android phone are the same. You may like iPhone, I may like Android phone. But if I see the cause of iPhone, the cause of Android phone, they are the principles, they are the same. Similarly, all meditation practices are the same because the cause is the same. Outside their appearance, their steps are different. But why the masters are making us crazy? Why they have different steps? That is another question that comes to the mind. They have to. Why they have to? Because they personalizes the practice of meditation based on the level of participants, based on the temperament, based on the level of their awareness, based on their mental states. First class, there is a first grade class and a science teacher writes on a whiteboard H2O. What is this? So the first grade student will say you have written a wrong English. Why you have put 2 after H? But if you teach the high school students who have studied chemistry, what is this? H2O. This is water. See that? This is water. So the students live with the different levels of ignorance. So we customize that practice. we personalize these practices to help student progress on the path. So not always, because I gave 5 different group sessions every week, and every practice is totally different from one another. Every practice is different. I give about 7 or 8 private lessons, and those private lessons, every practice is different. Possibly I have designed more than 200 different practices of meditation. Why? Because it depends on the temperament of an individual. For some people, I simply talk, their eyes are closed, I communicate and I talk, and they move very deeper. Like one IT expert who has been doing with me for the last 1.5 years from California, and I simply say facing within, and the mind is facing within, and check, feel and experience the body is steady. And then I don't say anything for 10 minutes. We both observe where you are. And he remained totally still. Then I give second instruction for another minute, and I keep quiet for another 10 minutes. So means the steps are designed only for either a group or a person, depending on their level and their mental states. 2 things. Third thing is to understand it clearly. When I say this is my hand, so who says it is my hand? I. So I is subject and the hand is an object. When I say here you are, so you are object for me and I am object for you. There is a subject, there is an object. So subject is understood with reference to I, me, and object is referred as other. I am and I am not. Here is a monitor, so I am not the monitor. So what I am not is object. Once you understand this principle, which is very common everywhere, it is very easy to understand. So the mind has 5 subjective states, and the same mind has 5 objective states. Let us understand one more principle. It is the mind that divides into subject and object. What it means? I know you. So one part of the mind is I, the other part of the mind has become you. Then only I recognize I know you. Are you getting it? Very good. So now see, mind has 5 subjective states. Mind is wandering constantly, that is subjective state. Mind is obsessed, that is subjective state. Mind lives in a kind of fancies, forgetfulness, that is also a subjective. These 3 subjective states cannot help us to meditate. Then the 4th subjective state is one-pointedness, where the mind is naturally pointing inside. Very good. And the 5th is the emptiness of the mind, is the 5th subjective state. So what the meditation does, meditation practice minimizes the duration of the first three subjective states: wandering, obsession, fancies, or forgetfulness. And it extends the period of these two subjective states, which is one-pointedness, natural one-point. That one-pointedness is not focus. It is mind is looking inside, constantly aware and alert, looking for the self. So that is the 5 subjective states. And then there are 5 objective states. Right perception, which I discussed here, then right perception, then wrong perception, which is easy to understand. No, I see the sky is blue, so hence sky is blue. I made my decision that this is right. But I'm wrong. I live in wrong perception. People say, my honey is most handsome, beautiful, but at times everything shatters. Everything changes. So that is kind of a third perception: right perception, wrong perception, and third is imagination. I live in imagination. I was just talking to Anne recently that we live in fancies, in dreams. So that dominates my mind, and that creates a lot of problem in my relationship in human life. And the fourth objective state is also known as sleep. And the fifth is the memory. Only one example that will prove the point. How these great masters have understood this. So 5 subjective state here and 5 objective state here. I have a right perception, but my mind is wandering. So wandering state meets with right perception. Will I have a right perception? No. Mind is constantly jumping from one thought, one perception to the other perception. So I cannot have it. Only one. So we have 5 and 5 here, permutation and combination. That is how the mind lives during 24 hours a day. Someday you may say this beard guy, is wonderful. He explains beautifully. On the other day, who cares? He's a crazy guy. He talks too much. So it depends. It is your subjective state of the mind. It has nothing to do with me. I'm explaining the same way I've been explaining for the last 20 years. What difference it makes to me? It doesn't make any difference to me. You see, I can make out people. He has grown his beard. He claims that he knows. So why you are here with me? You have to learn meditation. Don't give an appreciation, credit, or certification to me. So who gives the certification? Either it is a wandering mind, or it is an obsessed mind. So I have nothing to do with it. It's your mind. Even if I'm teaching you right, you are taking it wrong, that's your problem. So the teachers in East, we are always happy, We don't need any certification from anyone. Why? Because we strictly adhere to the principles of Eastern wisdom. I should be upset when I have a doubt inside. There is no doubt inside. So there is no wrong perception. You see that? Look at this. So we say in Eastern wisdom that teacher is only a pointer. It is a catalyst. We don't take the burden of success of their participants, success of their students. How did you succeed? You are responsible. How did you fail? You are responsible. You see that? That is the funny part and enjoyable part of the teaching. Because you are the most important in meditation. Are you understanding these principles? Is there any clarity in you? When there is a clarity, are you free from the doubt? Yes. Do you have a conviction? Yes. And then you do any crazy practice, even the crazy practice, you will succeed. So why we talk in detail? We talk in detail to clear your doubt, to free your doubt in the mind, to have a clarity, to have a simple intellect, to have a conviction. In Eastern wisdom, we don't need IQ to go to the Harvard. No master has ever gone to the Harvard. We don't need IQ. We need simple, clear intellect, which has no doubt. Do you have doubt about your house? Anytime anyone asks, where is your house? We need that intellect. Do you need IQ to know where your house is? No. But to understand this part, it takes long time. Listening to the teacher. Understanding those principles, clarity, doubt-free mind, it takes time. Why? Seed cannot become a tree overnight. Knowledge is realized in stages. Knowledge is always realized in stages. Knowledge cannot happen instantly. You may understand that knowledge part in the mind, but if you don't think and contemplate, it will not be realized. That is why Master in our tradition, Eastern wisdom, we say 3 steps. I don't know, let me know it. Do I know the Newton's law of motion? No, let me know it. Do I understand the law of motion? No, let me understand it. In the second step, you ask questions. What, why, how, where, and when. So now, through asking the questions pertaining to that law and the principle, your mind becomes clear. Did you hear clearly? My house number is 7304. Oh, it's a 7454? No, 7304. You see that you clear your doubt. Similarly, you clear your doubt on these principles. We go, say for example, we go very deeply into the 5 subjective states of the mind, and then you check yourself which state you are living at this time. Say for example, you are living in the first 3 states of subjective states of the mind. Take an example with your honey. You are bound to enter into a conflict. Do whatever you want to do. Let me make it very clear. So it is your mind which is responsible for creating a conflict. And on the other side, you are living in the last 2 subjective states of the mind. Even your honey is wrong. You don't get upset. You're not excited. You remain calm. That is what we have been guiding and teaching. How to live into that state of the peace and happiness. we are not teaching anything, okay, when you give us more money, then I will teach you something more. No, the teaching is almost the same. Yes, it is better. My master used to tell a story that 2 students went to a music teacher to learn music. So the teacher asked the first student, do you know anything about the music? No, sir, I don't know anything. Well, then I will charge you $100 per month. So he asked the second student, do you know anything about the music? Yes, sir, I know. I have changed 5 teachers. No worries. I will charge you $100 per session. $100 per month, 25 sessions in a month. Those who don't know, And those who knows about the music, teacher said, I will charge you $100 per session, means $2,500 per month. What the heck? I know. That is why I have to make your mind unlearn first before I start teaching you the music first lesson. And it will take long time for you. Because you have already changed 5 teachers. Then I can understand how confused you are. I have to remove all the confusion. So the charges are $2,500 a month for you because you know it. Now see what is the problem. I claim I know it, but I don't know it. I claim I know it, but I don't know it. That is the nature of the second student. That is the biggest problem of meditation also. Meditation, no, close your eyes, focus on the breath. I know it, but I don't know it. And the first student who, out of the humility, he understands that he does not know, let me know it, the first principle. I don't know, let me know it. Second principle, I don't understand. After I will learn the principle, the way you ask me the question, that is the right approach. You learned it and then you ask me the question. Second step is, I don't understand, let me ask you the question. Right approach. So we pick up by when any student asks a question or share their experiences, where you stand. And based on that, I will customize my next lesson. I will pick up the topic in the same way that you people don't know. You are not aware, but I do it. Is it a hard work for the teacher? No. Who is well versed with the text, who is well versed with the teachings, who strictly adheres to the principles? It's a play and a fun. I instantly realize, oh, you are there, okay. But I don't say. Should I say it? No. You will not make a progress. Then comes, you see that I don't know, let me know it is the first principle. So I should know the principle as it is. Second, I don't understand. So after learning the principle for about a week, every day, even for 10-15 minutes, I should recall what I learned. That's why I sent the audio file. So I should learn what are the principles. Did I really understand or did I not understand? So if I don't understand, I make the questions. Let me understand this part before I proceed further. Is the right approach. So in the next session, you ask the questions and I responded and I can move further. So the 2 steps. First step, I don't know, let me know it. I don't understand, let me understand it. Now I understand clearly, for example, your house address. I can reach your house at any point of time. I understand it. Third step, I understand, but I don't experience. Let me practice. So based on your questions, your temperament, I customize the practice. Sometimes I keep couple of steps constant and so that your mind hooks to those steps and makes a progress. The time comes, I will change those steps. I'll take you to the hard steps. It is like your house is 20 miles away from my house and I'm driving. I have covered 5 miles. How much is left? 15 miles. But I should be sure that I have reached 5 miles. Similarly, when, say, for example, the mind is totally purified, it remains alert and aware during the practice, I don't need to give you breathing practice. Breathing practice is only given to purify the mind. See that? We don't need to do any kind of breathing for any meditation, but it is required, so I give it. When it is not required, I will say, yes, let us go further. So, that is the case in the journey. In that process, we adhere to the principles, but outer steps vary from one practice to the other. Inside, you will see, even I can give you the mantra and has experienced lot of those practices. Sometime I say that hammer with the mantra. That also demands it. That also leads to purification of the mind. One, and it helps the mind to go within. But if I give that practice in the beginning, it will not work. Even if the practice is very powerful, I should be able to sustain that power. If my mind is not ready, it is constantly wandering. At that time, if the powerful step is given, it will backfire. It will backfire. So we are aware. That's how we customize and personalize these practices. Now, we'll not do the practice, but this is a good session so that you have lot of principles to think upon. Just let me give you a brief, and I will repeat it again in the next session before we do the practice next time. You know, the conditions in the world. Think of these three things. Conditions in the world and its state, mind and its states, and the self and its state. Three things are there. The external world, right? And its state. What is the state of the world outside? The world is constantly changing. Is it or not? Constantly changing. Second part, world consists of three things: time, place, object. I need not to, scatter my mind. Only three classifications. This world consists of: place means the space or location, your house, my house. Street, highways, shop, mall, all are space. All are space, nothing else there. First category, you name it differently, it is the same space. Space cannot be divided. Second is time, past, present, and future. You cannot have the fourth level of time. Can you imagine? Imagine and let me know. So the world consists of place, time. And third is object. That object includes everything, the material object and the people, including living beings. They are also the object for me when I look at them. That is why, sometimes people say, don't treat me as an object of pleasure. You see that? You already know that phrase. So that is why I say the world consists of only three things. Are you clear? Now, when you combine these three, it creates an event. What is that event? Marriage, divorce, happiness, sorrow, pain, pleasure, likes, dislikes. Only all the three creates these events in life. So that is the nature of the world. Clear? The world is constantly changing. Hey honey, I'm really very sorry, I was crazy, that's why I was angry over you. I'm really sorry. Because why I'm sorry? Because now I will treat you as an object of pleasure. That's why I'm sorry. So I go back to the same square one idea in my mind. I know these people. What should I say? I don't say this. But you see that? Whether it may be an object of pleasure, whether I have some motivation, any damn thing. So this world, ultimately, it is a constantly changing entity which offers to the mind what it offers? The results of an event. And what is the result of an event? Likes, dislikes, profit and loss, success and failure, victory and defeat. That is the nature of the world, reflected into the mind. Isn't it? You see that a person, a teacher who says that, look at my students, they are smiling, they are nodding their head, it means I am able to convince. So that is how my mind reflects. Why should my mind reflect like this? Let me speak out the truth. Let me speak the principles. Let me express it as clear as possible. It's your take how you take it. That is one state of mind. Now coming to the mind. Let now come to the mind. The mind and mental condition. Second condition in the mind. You see, I know everything. Hence, you should listen to me and you should agree with me. So now my expression, my teaching is based on my ego. So I'm always frustrated. Even if you smile, I think that, oh, you are making fun of me. I have a feeling because that ego can take any expression like anything. See that? So my focus is on the content, the knowledge part. If I focus on the knowledge, there is no worry. I'm expressing my knowledge. You objected, so I see that there is another way of expression of the same knowledge. So what happens to me in that state of the mind? That state of the mind is always free. It is enjoying every moment of life, whether teaching or not teaching. That is the fourth subjective state of the mind. You don't teach from the first three subjective states of the mind. That is wandering. That is obsessed. That is crazy. That guides you to the wrong perception. Come on, I'm a teacher. I'm an awakened guy and you are sleeping guys. So you are too far from me. That builds your ego. Eastern wisdom teaches that we all have the same real self. If you don't have it, then I should build my ego. You don't have it, so I will create that real self in you. Then there may be a matter of ego. So what the teachers of the Eastern wisdom says, that there is only one difference between you and me. What is that difference? I know my true nature. You don't know your true nature. So that there is no difference between your true nature and my true nature. It is the same. And one common element. It cannot be different. You possess that. You live into that. It is because of the true nature you are alive, you are communicating, you are listening, and you are doing the practice. But you are not aware of it. Means what? Sometime we lost a key of the car in the home, but we are sure we have lost the key inside the home. We have forgotten about the true nature. The role of a teacher to remind you. by the principle, by the practice, by understanding. So how should I have an ego? Why should I build an ego? Because we all have the same true nature. That is the self, the state of the self never changing. It is ever shining. It is all pervading. It is full of permanent peace. It is full of wisdom. It is full of love. It is full of truth consciousness. So we have understood the three layers. First layer, outermost layer is the world. The effect of that world is reflected in the mind as likes, dislikes, profit, loss, duality, opposing, conflicts. That is why we see the moment you enter into the world, ask your mind, are you in conflict? Your mind will say no. Why you say? Okay. Do you believe your honey 100%? No, you have a conflict. Come on. You have a conflict. So that is how I understand. I pick up. Even any statement you make. That is how I was mentored by my master. I will never say it, but I become aware of it. So the moment you enter into the world, reflects as opposing forces, conflicts and duality, and the mind also lives in opposing pairs because of the subjective states of the mind, because of the objective states of the mind. Mind is craving for something, it is not in the right perception. Mind is obsessed with something, it is not in the right knowledge. Why? Last part. No, I have a craving for pasta. How do you say I have a wrong perception? For example. So I have a craving for the pasta. It means I have a desire for the pasta. When I have a desire for the pasta means I am projecting happiness in the pasta which is not there. Happiness is not in the pasta. If the happiness is in the pasta, then everybody would start taking pasta instead of going to a guide or a mentor like this guy, crazy guy. You don't need this crazy guy in the world. Everybody, whenever you have a stress, eat pasta, you're happy. So happiness is not outside. But when the mind is seeking happiness in variety of ways, that makes the mind crazy, fancy, dreaming, obsessed, add all the words. Binge eating, binge walking, etc., etc. So to make understand this mind that the happiness is not outside, we lay down the steps. Based on those steps, we practice meditation. So first, outermost level world consists of time, place and objects. They create an event, and that event is reflected in the mind. Mind says, I'm happy with you because you made me happy. My happiness depends on you. That is the mental state, the crazy mental state. Nobody can ever make anyone happy. I am responsible for peace and happiness. That is the point of wisdom. We have to install in the mind. We have to uninstall the old mind. We have to reinstall the new mind, which declares I am responsible for my peace and happiness. Then the real journey of meditation starts. Then you know, yes, I have understood. So every time you practice meditation, the mind says, I'm going to discover inner peace and happiness, love and wisdom within me. Then what is the needs of getting married? Last point I'm considering. For example, there is a need. What is that need? Once I discover that inner happiness, now world outside gives me an opportunity to express that peace and happiness in the world outside through my pure mind. So say again, take an example of the honey. My honey is angry, but I am expressing peace and happiness. It doesn't affect me. And my honey is happy. I am still happy. So happiness doesn't leave me. Peace doesn't leave me. That is why I have to live in the same world. I have reinvented myself. I have discovered my true nature. A true meditator says. And that reveals inner peace and happiness in my life. So I have no problem at all living in the world. Why? The nature of the world is opposing, duality. So now what happens? The meditator lives in the world but does not allow the world to live in his mind. So therefore he is always happy. You have tears in your eyes. That is the nature of meditation. That we need to discover. I don't know how long it will take for you to reach to that state. It is a deeper session than the practice. It gives you a clarity. So make it, some people ask me the crazy question, then there is no need of the world, as if you have created a world. You're asking a wrong question. First discover peace and happiness within you. Then see what happens to this world. You know what will happen to this world? Once you are a meditator, you have revealed the knowledge of reality. And from that knowledge of the reality, you see the world. The world appears the most beautiful. Every event is the most attractive and the beautiful. You'll be surprised if you see that the world through my eyes. At this moment, you will see it is even the ugliest is most beautiful. Because you can see the beauty behind that ugliness. You can see the beauty behind the anger. The guy who is becoming angry wants to get the things done through his anger or her anger. He is also seeking the same peace, but he using the wrong means. You see, the world is so beautiful. You can't imagine when you live into the meditative state. You also fight, you do everything, you don't change anything outside, but now your fighting is a play and a fun to get the things done. The way you become angry over your kids and the next moment you're happy. You say to your kid, I showed you anger because you were following the wrong path. The world becomes so beautiful. Your eyes perceive the reality. Your ears perceive the reality. Your smell perceives, your mind perceives that reality. It does not see the cause. It does not see the effect. It perceives the reality inside. Last thing then I'll bring in at. Is the wave real or water real? Water is real. So your right perception means you see the water in every wave. They appear as a wave, but actually they are water. You see the cause. What is the cause of my existence? It is my true nature. It is my real self. It is the effect which I have a beard, I have a name, I have a profession. So you have a name, you have a profession, you have a relationship. They are effects. Cause is pure nature, real self. To discover that real self is the subject matter, is the goal of meditation. Do you have any more questions? Unmute it. Unmute it. You look more beautiful when you cry. Unmute your sound. Sophie, unmute your sound.